Hello, Bigfoot enthusiast. Scott here from Squatch America.
And Hannah, domestic goddess, chick cook, and doggy mama in the paddy wagon tonight. I'm even wearing my dog mom cap.
You are.
So I have been watching this YouTuber lately. Not him, not us. Well, I watch his shorts. I also wash his shorts, come to think of it. But anyway, I used to watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Can you tell? Anyway, I've been watching this YouTuber I just discovered, and his name, I hope I say it right, is Rocky Kanaka. And he goes into dog shelters and sits with the dogs and helps socialize them and kind of help them get through the trauma of being in the shelter. And I am totally in love. I am ready to stop traveling and just volunteer at dog shelters. Just saying. And then I would want to bring them all home. So I need a lot of land. So if anyone has 20 nice acres we can buy cheap, let us know.
All righty. So we are going to
play the intro.
Play the intro and stop talking about my shorts. All righty then.
Could you all tell us if you can even hear us?
I think yeah, we can hear. Okay.
We can't hear anything on this computer tonight. So we're just hoping that everything's okay. Hey, so let's see who is in. Do not discard changes. What are you poking?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, he's just clicking buttons.
I'm just clicking buttons. There we go. Okay.
All right. So, hey, let's see who's in the house. We got Uncle Bones and Scott, Michelle, Galen, Joe, Ben, Jim, Angel. Nice to see everyone tonight.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
And they can hear us. Just because we don't have our shiz together on this end doesn't mean they don't have theirs.
Yeah. That's cool. All righty. What was I going to try to do here?
I have no idea.
Anyway, so what are we talking about tonight, Hannah?
The importance of report cards.
Yeah, the importance of report cards.
Sort of. By the way, my apologies. I did not send out the movie list last week, but I did send it out in today's email. So go back. If you did not see our movie list, go to the email that you got today. And it is in there. And if you did not get an email today, it means you are not subscribed to our email. So go to squatchamerica.com and subscribe to our weekly emails.
There we go. See how she kind of like wove that plug in there? Okay.
I'm really good at that. And hey, Rick, good to see you. And Raptor.
All right.
And Richard.
So we are going to be talking today about...
Is that Richard? Are you really Kevin?
Kevin? I don't know. I can't say the word Kevin because I watched a cartoon when I was a kid.
His name was Kevin.
Kevin. Okay.
That was called 321 Penguins.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I should probably look it up, see if it's even available online.
Yeah.
The same people who made, if any of you out there were VeggieTales fans, these people made the best space show ever called 321 Penguins.
Yeah. And one of the guys on the ship was named
the big dumb penguin was Kevin, and he was always the one that was saving the day. So,
yeah,
you know,
Kevin.
Anyway,
so what we're going to be talking about tonight is actually the importance of Bigfoot reports. So, as you know, we actually extended our stay, so we were 3 weeks in Whitney, Texas, Lake Whitney.
What a nice place this really is.
It really is, and the people around here are just awesome. Of course, you're in the South, and Southern people are awesome anyway. But all the people in this area are just fantastic. So we did run into a few. Actually, it's kind of funny. I think we talked about this last week, but the local newspaper, when they saw our truck pull into town, everybody was gawking at the truck. The local newspaper called us and asked us why we were in town. So we went down and did an interview. And I don't even know if it came out in the paper or what.
Would you keep talking?
Anyway, so we got some people contacting us, and we had a couple gentlemen who really wanted to share their stories with us. I did sit down with them yesterday, wasn't it? And finished up and did an interview with them after we had already went out into the woods and did some squatching with them. And when we got up to where there's the squatching spot was, it was fantastic because we camped overnight. The people who ran the air, who was like running.
So this was a Corps of Engineers campground.
It's a Corps, yeah, because there's not many. Most of the land around here is private, and that was one of the problems I had when we first got here. I was like, oh man, where are we going to go? This is all private land, and I don't know anybody, you know. But so we found some Corps of Engineer land, and so the guys who are running the Corps of Engineer land there allowed us to park there. They even like, let me tell you my Bigfoot story and I'll pay for your camping. I'm like, okay.
So here's the thing. This Corps of Engineers campground, what we found out later was the Corps would really like to shut it down. And they don't want to deal with it anymore. Obviously, the government also doesn't want to get rid of it because, government. Anyway, but so this neighborhood association that abuts the campground went to the Corps and said, let us take care of it. Because if you just let it go, it's going to be filled with all sorts of ne'er-do-wells. And by the way, Joe, we were talking about that just earlier today. We were asking now, is Texas, is that the South or is it just Texas? And so you've answered the question.
Thank you very much.
If this ain't the South, then why do y'all say y'all? So, okay.
No, it's the rest of the South says you're all, they stole it from Texas. I'm pretty sure.
But we did learn that in Texas, you don't have hollers, you have hollows. So
yeah,
we are learning. And
so you don't, like when you're in Kentucky, they're hollers. But here they're hollows. So
anyway,
and up where we're from,
they're valleys.
They're canyons and valleys.
Yeah. Anyway, we're at this campground and we were right on the Brazos River.
And
what else were you going to say about the campground?
No, I just said we were there for like one night and we must have had
30, a dozen plus people descend.
I know.
All at the same time.
Just people kept coming out of the woods on four-wheelers and pulling up and sharing their Bigfoot stories with us. So it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. So we definitely hit the hot spot. So what I want to do is talk about why.
Of course, we didn't have a sighting because.
That's why.
Because it's us.
Yeah. Well, it happened 90% of the times you don't.
And actually, the best way to squatch is to go out for like a week. And we just didn't have that kind of time because I have a day job and I have to work my day job. So there we are.
Yeah.
All right. So
what we want to do is talk about tonight why Bigfoot sightings are important.
Why Bigfoot reports.
Why Bigfoot reports. I said sightings tonight. Reports are important. And so before we get into the report part, I wanted to show you guys a couple places I go, which are kind of handy. One is the other National Bigfoot Research Group, not Squatch America. The other one,
who shall remain nameless.
No, they have a site. They're called the BFRO, and their site is fantastic. Really, I have to give them credits. So this is their website. You just pick the state. You can just click on the state, and it'll take you to the state. We're in Texas. Now, the one thing I don't like about it is if you just scroll down here and you see where all the sightings are, these are the counties in Texas. So if you haven't memorized every county in Texas and where it's at, it won't give you a good idea of where you're at compared. You could look up the county you're in, I guess, but
that's what our internet's for.
Yeah,
here.
But if you click on this, little known fact, you can click on this picture up here and it'll show you the state with all the counties in it. and all the counties with the reports in
So
them.
show them about where we are right now.
We are actually right here. We're in Hill County,
Southwest of Dallas, Fort Worth.
but all our reports and stuff, the places we went camping and stuff, was actually in Johnson County, and there's 2 reports right here. And then you can just click on the report, and you got the report, which Hannah happens to have in her hand. Do you? That
Yes.
one? Or is it this one? It's that one.
This one?
Which Hannah has in her hot little hand.
Okay, am I reading it
Yeah,
now?
you were just talking about what they observed.
Okay, so this comes out of Johnson County. Here's what the report says. I was 12 or 13 at the time. We'd been rock climbing and rappelling off the cliffs there. We've been there several times before. I had a habit of wandering off exploring. I had walked to the cliff top probably a half mile away from the group I was with, and was in a very thick area in a cut or a hollow, not a holler, a hollow that has an overhang. Looking down, you could see an undercut in the cliff. I was on top looking across, trying to figure out if I needed to go around the top or climb down. I heard something below that sounded like some low grunts and heavy rocks rolling around. I got closer to the edge and looked over and saw something. It was very large and I could only see its back. It was very wide with no neck. Now, as I'm reading these things, listen for keywords.
Yeah. That's what we're getting into.
It was very wide with no neck. I could see its head, but it did not have much neck. I could see its shoulders and back, and the shoulders were very wide. It was completely covered with hair. It was crouched over and rolling the big rocks over like it was looking for something underneath. I heard some low grunts, but nothing else other than the rocks rolling around. Its color was a color I can only say looked like a dark grayish brown, not unlike a coyote. Now, okay, we're in Texas. So is it a coyote or a coyote? Someone tell me how to say it right. It was big, but I never really saw it stand up, and I never really saw its face. I did see its arms as it pulled up on the rocks, rolling them around, but I was so startled and scared I turned and ran. Did I say ran?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. As I took off, it seemed to move away as well, but it was 40 to 50 feet below me in the hollow. It was not a wild pig because it was clearly crouched down on 2 legs and using its arms and hands to roll the rocks. I ran all the way back to the group. I remember hyperventilating on the way back from being scared and thinking for sure it was chasing me. I told my father that I saw something, but he didn't react much at all. He told me I shouldn't have wandered off. Years later, when I brought it up, he told me that he'd had a similar experience in the same general area. My father told me years later of an experience he had so he goes on. He never saw it, but had experienced very aggressive behavior from something at night he could not see.
Okay. So here's one of the reasons these reports are important is you need to educate yourself on Bigfoot reports and listen to what people say. This helps me immensely, and it took me years to figure this out. If you look at this report, there's some things that they said in here. Darkish gray and brown. They also saw no neck.
Wide shoulders.
Wide shoulders. And it was rolling the rocks. So a lot of times I'll print these reports out and I have a highlighter and I'll just highlight that stuff because you'll start noticing trends and things that people say that gives you an idea that these people saw something and they weren't making it up by describing the Jack Link's Bigfoot that they saw on a TV commercial. One of the things we do see a lot of is the rolling rocks thing. I've heard that hundreds of times. And my best guess is one of the best one is one that actually Todd Neese told me the story. And I think it was secondhand. I think he had originally got the report from somebody, but this was on a scree field.
A scree field?
Yeah, well, up in Oregon and Northwest on the volcanoes, there's the hills are so steep, the rocks break off the side of the cliffs, and then they create this like blanket of rocks down below the cliffs, down to the tree lines and stuff.
They're so fun to walk over.
Yeah. So there's lots of piles of rocks that come off the cliffs and stuff and pile up. And I always just known them as scree fields, we called them. So and they're big boulders too. I mean, some huge rocks. And the story goes that this gentleman was across the canyon or across the hollow.
Thank you.
But this was in Oregon, so it was
when in Rome,
on the other side of the canyon.
When in Texas.
Yeah. And he was watching. There was 3 Bigfoot. There was adult, or 2 adults and a juvenile, and there was the female. There was a male, female, and juvenile. The female and juvenile were standing up towards the top of the scree field, and the male was down rolling rocks over. And he kept seeing every once in a while they would find a hibernating squirrel under a rock, and he would grab the squirrel and throw it up to the other ones. So I do believe that Bigfoot scavenges under rocks a lot. In fact, we just recently, it was a while ago when we did our investigation, our first investigation in Crater Lake. We went back weeks later and did it again, but we found logs rolled over in the woods, lots of them. Some of them picked up and moved. They weren't rolled. They were picked up and moved and set down. Bears don't do that. Bears just tear them apart. They just rip into them and get the termites and stuff out of them.
Humans kick them and walk away. Yeah,
these were actually picked up and moved, and some of them were pretty big. So apparently they look under rocks and under logs for food, I'm guessing. And that's what I gather from all these reports, that I hear them about rolling rocks a lot. So we have another sighting in Texas here. Is that,
which one are you looking at?
I don't remember now. The Brazos River one.
Okay. Yes. All right. So this is really close to where we were, because this is on the Brazos River where it flows into Lake Whitney. So we were probably camping right over that. If you go to my Facebook page, scroll down a few bit, you'll see the view from our tent. It's just totally overlooking the Brazos River. All right.
Let's see if I can blow this up again.
Look at you go, figuring out that computer.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so smart.
I'm schmert.
You're schmert, yeah. Okay, so here's the report. My wife and I were out on the Brazos River with some friends. We were fishing and swimming on a sandbar in the Goat Neck bend of the river. A member of our party noticed someone moving around on a rock ledge up on the cliffs about 250, 300 feet above the river. It was about half a mile away from us. As we started watching, whatever it was started jumping around, waving its arms like it was trying to get our attention, waving its arms in the air like it just didn't care. No. Anyway, it did get our attention. It was jumping around like it was playing. We were able to observe it for 5 to 10 minutes. It jumped from one rock ledge to another that was 15 feet away and 20 feet or so down. A person couldn't have made that jump. Heck, I look at something 2 feet down and go, how am I getting down there?
Yeah.
So it then jumped into a gully and disappeared. We waited a long time to see if it would reappear, but it didn't. So they also note that it was at least 8 feet tall, covered with dark brown hair. It had a human form. We went over to the area to see if we could find any evidence, but there wasn't any. It was very rocky terrain. We did see a cedar tree that it was standing next to. The tree was taller than us, and the animal we saw was taller than the tree. Another thing. At other times in this area, we have heard strange sounds, mostly loud screams. So, what stands out to you in this report?
The size. What stands out to you?
What stands out to me is this. Is what we have experienced, not what we have personally experienced and what we have heard from other eyeball to eyeball witnesses. It's where they said it was jumping around like it was playing. And what are all sightings connected with?
Juveniles.
Juveniles. And who played?
Juveniles.
So,
mm-hmm.
And the other thing where it says it jumped, because they went up and looked at the, to examine the area, it jumped from, it jumped 15 feet without any problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, and last I checked, for a human to jump 15 feet, there has to be a pole involved.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean that kind of pole. Guys, get your head out of the gutter.
So anyway, so that's the reports from the Brazos River near Lake Whitney that I found on the BFRO. So the other side I want to talk about is called the Bigfoot Mapping Project. And you can click their new map or their classic map. Their classic map is this one here. And what I'm showing here is the Bigfoot reports come up as just they got pictures of feet, they got pictures of speakers, and they've got pictures of Bigfoot. The Bigfoot ones are color coded, and that's sightings, clear sightings, or they saw something big shadow running through the woods, and they're color coded like that. And I don't remember off the top of my head.
They can go to the map and figure it out, honey.
Yeah, and then so this is their basic map. Their other map is this one here, and then what it does is it allows you to type in, okay, I only want reportings from this year to this year, and
so it's more searchable.
Yeah, so all I want is footprints, or all I want is vocalizations or wood knocks. I want to know, all I want to know is the ones that had male Bigfoots or female Bigfoots, if you're looking for love, I guess. Anyway, so then
you can filter and search.
or juveniles, so you can filter the searches on it. So, but I got the map up here of where we are headed tomorrow. So tomorrow. See, we are going to be right here in Gordonville, Texas. This area, actually, we're going to be up in here camping. And look, there's a Bigfoot report right across the lake, and there's one down at the end of the lake, and then one down the road here, and then one out in this wooded area over here. So this is where we're going to be, and this line right here up north, there's a Bigfoot report up there, and another one across the line. And this line, do you know what's over there?
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Yeah. So there's that. So
actually, I watched a YouTube video about Oklahoma, and we might like Oklahoma. It's kind of our speed. Did you know that in the entire state of Oklahoma, there aren't as many people that live in Oklahoma that live in Dallas? It's a highly non-peopled state.
There we go. Huh.
You got to check that out.
I did not know that.
Yes, and I learned all about Oklahoma. I have friends in Oklahoma too, who I haven't seen since I was a teenager, so could be fun.
All right.
Did you want me to read something?
Well, we're going to get that in a second, but
I want to know if Bigfoot is a Buc-ee's fan.
Does Bigfoot go to Buc-ee's? Does Bigfoot dumpster dive in Buc-ee's dumpsters? We're going to answer that question right after this. See what I did there?
As we travel and search for Bigfoot, we use a lot of equipment that uses the internet to operate. Also, in our town hall meetings and live streams,
We need a reliable connection. We use Nomad Internet. There's a link and discount code below, so join us and have internet access on the go.
All right, so we're back.
For good or for ill, we are back.
So,
hey, Wendy, I was just thinking about you today.
yeah. So we are going to be in this area. So we're doing our research. Oh, by the way, all the reports and stuff we got in Lake Whitney area, that video's coming out
Friday.
I got a lot of editing to do because we got a lot of stuff. We didn't have any Bigfoot sightings ourselves, but there's something very interesting. The area we went was along the river, very super wooded. Caves. There were a lot of caves in the area, and cliffs, which was kind of interesting, and a lot of fenced off areas that the Corps of Engineers wouldn't let you go. But there was that,
and it was, and I don't know whether it was well, of course it was a campground, and it is November here in Central Texas, so the weather is perfect. Very, very people-y area. Lots of people coming in to go fishing.
Right, but they're all in the river. Yeah.
Fishing, but still, you know, is very people-y, and we didn't have the time to do the full 5-mile hike into the interior. By the way, Joe says that he loves beaver nuggets.
Beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's.
Is that something like gizzards?
She don't know. We're going to go to Buc-ee's when we get to Tawakoni, and we're going to get some beaver nuggets, and we're going to educate her about beaver nuggets. No, it's not.
I don't think they're on my program.
Probably not. But.
All right. Oh, Joe has access to 3,500 acres of private land in Oklahoma. I'm telling you, I have got to check out some Oklahoma.
Yeah, we do.
And they've got forested area there. It's not just some ugly place. Although your Nez Perce blood might not like it.
Yeah, true.
Okay. So anyway, it's good to, well, I don't see you, but I'm glad you're seeing us live, Wendy. We're weird. We're weird. Wendy Munson's on.
Oh, hi.
Didn't you see that?
Yeah.
We do need a Buc-ee's sticker if we could actually get to a Buc-ee's.
So we're going to do that. Yeah.
We have literally not passed one. We kept that. It's Allsups. We keep going to Allsups. Those are the only truck stops we can find around here, Allsups. So anyway. Okay.
Awesome.
By the way, they're, according to this guy, Allsups, those deli burritos are gross.
They are. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So there's that. Anyway, so what was I talking about now? Beaver nuggets. No, we're talking about Bigfoot reports. So
okay.
So where we're going, and by the way, if anybody's watching this and you're in the Lake Texoma area, Gordonville, Locust, Dexter, I'm looking on Sturgeon. There's a town called Sturgeon. Carlsberg, Sadler, that area around there, or in Oklahoma in a place called Enos. That's the town over there. And what's this town over here?
I don't know.
Thackerville.
Oh, I like the sound of
I want to
that.
live there. Because I like the name.
That's
I want to live in
now
Thackerville.
scroll that way over back to Thackerville. Look how much forest is around there.
Yep.
That's Oklahoma. That's the Oklahoma Panhandle, I think.
No, it's not.
Oh.
That's the bottom center.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so please
weird...
email us if you're in that area.
Apparently Blake Shelton lives in Oklahoma, and we should call him because he's a Bigfoot believer.
He is.
So you want to call him, or you want me to call him? I'll message him on Facebook.
You can message him. Okay.
Maybe we could sing together. We could duet.
There we go.
Hey, have you guys seen the Tom McDonald recent release Superman? He wants me to do the cover challenge.
Yeah.
So should I do the Superman cover challenge?
You should.
Let me know. Some of you have been privileged enough to hear me sing happy birthday to you, which I haven't done in a while. I got out of the habit. Anyway, should I do the Superman challenge? Okay.
Okay, Donna says she's late. Donna, because you're late, you have to hit the like button. And everybody else has to hit the like button because Donna was late.
And if you've already hit the like button, hit it twice.
No, don't hit it twice.
If they've already liked it, they have to hit it twice or else they'll unlike it.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to get to the Bigfoot reports from the BFRO. I got to go back here.
Charles says he got his Squatch America coffee cups earlier today. While
Awesome.
Scott's trying to get his act together here. Hey, if you're on YouTube, you don't see these on Facebook, which is why you need to watch us on YouTube. But our YouTube store is live, and you can get your shirts, your hoodies, your coffee cups
right down below here.
Right below. You got all those buying options. Sizes are pretty true to size. Teespring is really good at sizing. So we have stuff from small all the way to 3X, and we have it for toddlers and youth sizes too. All right. And I may be coming up with a Christmas Bigfoot, an ugly Bigfoot sweater for Christmas. So just keep your eyes open.
Keep your eyes open for that. Yeah. So we're going to go to the BFRO here in the county we're going to, which is in Grayson County. And the cool thing about it is another thing, when you look at these reports, there's something I always pay attention to. I mean, they go back in time, 1975, 98, 91 to 95. That was a long sighting. That guy watched that Bigfoot for 4 years. Okay.
Well, it says that ongoing activity near the family home.
Yeah, I know. So, and then 2006 and 2019. So all these Class A's in the BFRO world, Class A's are sightings, Class B's are like sounds or rocks being thrown at you or whatever, non-sighting. But the cool thing to look at, it doesn't say here in the 75 one, unless it's in the details, but what time of year it was. But look, summer, spring, July.
So you could extrapolate that 1975 was probably about that time too, spring and summer.
Yep. So spring and summer, July's pretty much midsummer, but it's not late summer. It's all early summer. So if you're in this area, in this county, that seems to be when they're active.
Which
or
means
they're there.
We're going in November, and the odds of us having an encounter there are pretty slim to none.
Yeah. We just lowered our chances.
Yeah. But it's still fun. Okay, shall I read this already?
Sure.
Okay.
You have the 1975 one?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the 1975.
All right, here we go.
Why are you doing that? Oh, you're going to... So, question for our audience. When you see something like text scroll, if there's printing on the screen and someone is reading at you, do you just like blaze ahead and read it faster yourself, or do you actually listen to the reader? Because I'm one of those, oh, shut up, I'll read it on my own.
I'm one of those, I'll listen to you read it.
Yeah, okay. All right, here's the report. My husband has told this story ever since he was a child, just like this guy here. And his cousin, who was with him at the time, backs up every bit of the story. If you separate them and ask specific questions, the stories match perfectly. It's because they've been telling it together so long.
Yeah.
Anyway, one afternoon in the summertime when the weather was hot. No, one afternoon in the summertime.
There we go. It's in the summer.
Husband and his cousin walked into the woods just behind the houses they lived in. They were on their way down to this creek bed they always went to so they could shoot their BB guns. Is that a creek bed or a creek bed? That's what I want to know. Not long after they had just gotten into the woods, they heard what sounded like maybe an animal moving in the woods. The sounds got louder and louder and eventually started to sound like footsteps of someone walking in the same direction they were going. The footsteps at one point sounded as if whatever was moving the same direction was no more than 25 feet away. The sound carried on until they had reached the creek bed. Once they were at the bottom of the creek bed, they both looked up the creek bed. How many times can we say creek bed in one sentence? In the direction the footsteps had come from. Fear overcame my husband so that before he could scream, he turned and ran, dropping his BB gun. That's significant. If something scares you enough to drop your sidearm, That is no bueno.
Yeah.
His cousin, also engulfed and overcome with fear, followed right behind him. What they saw was described as about 7 feet tall, covered with hair, but they could not make out the face. They ran all the way home, but whatever it was did not follow. Not even a week had gone by that a story came out in the Denison Herald about a Blue Creek monster that had been sighted in the northeast part of Denison. Sometime after that, my husband's father was in their bathroom one early morning and said that he'd heard a scream come from out of the woods like he'd never heard in his life. Makes you think twice about being alone in the woods, doesn't it?
Okay.
There's more.
Oops.
About a year later, my husband and his cousin were walking in the same woodsy area where they had seen the creature, and just as they had started into the woods, they heard the same sound of footsteps starting to follow them again. This time they didn't wait around to see what it was. They just ran. It was in the thickest woods of Denison.
So one thing I would like to commend Texans about, I was almost going to say Southerners, but I'm going to say Texans because that's different. Thank you, Joe. Okay. But I love the fact that they name their Bigfoots instead of I saw a Bigfoot. It's not a Bigfoot.
It's the Blue Creek Monster.
It's the Blue Creek Monster.
Do you know what would be cool is if all of the high schools in Texas would rename their mascots to be
the local Bigfoot.
Yes.
Yeah. So you got the Caddo Critter, you got the Sabine Thing, you got the Blue Creek Monster, and I'm sure there's several that I'm missing in my head. So
by the way, hi Don. Nice to see you. We have not been at an Elks Lodge since Lubbock.
Yeah.
And we did not have the pins in Lubbock, but we are armed for the next. We'll be staying at a lot of Elks
we got
Lodge
the
on the way
pins,
back.
by the way. We have them. Thanks, Don. So here's the interesting thing about this one. They're being paced. This is another common occurrence. I heard footsteps just over the ridge. Wood boogers. Yeah, I forgot about the wood boogers. Yeah.
Oh, that would be funny. Is there a town in Texas that begins with B?
Oh, there's probably 1,000. But yeah.
Someone throw a Texas town that begins with B in there, okay? Just for me.
Okay, anyway. So, well, they call them the wood boogers, but
they don't have to be the wood boogers. They could be another kind of booger.
They could. But anyway, what was like now I got distracted with boogers. Okay.
The Burleson boogers. Thank you.
The Burleson boogers.
That'd be awesome.
All right. So
they name their things. Pacing.
Pacing. We have had this happen to us. Our experience with them, hearing them walking just over the ridge or just out of eye shot in the woods, you can take a few steps, you hear doo, 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 walking, and then it stops. You stop, they stop. I've had this happen to me twice. Once in Eastern Oregon in the Blue Mountains with my son and grandson with me, and once with my wife and my grandson. We should bring him. He's lucky, I guess. My grandson.
Do you want a 14-year-old in this house with us?
No, I do not. Anyway,
even Daisy chimed in and said no.
No. So, in Montana, this happened to us in Montana.
Yep, I remember that.
We were hiking on a trail, and just over the ridge, you'd hear something walking, pacing us. Now, do bears do that? Yes, but
cougars do that too.
Cougars do that too, but cougars you can't hear because they're just silent and deadly.
And can you feel a bear's footsteps?
No.
We could feel.
We could feel the footsteps in the ground. Yeah, so that's happened to us twice. So that's a common thing. If you're looking in these reports, okay, so this makes sense because this is something that other people talk about. And if you can corroborate these stories with other people from other places telling you the same thing, so if there's a commonality, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. All right. So what's the next one?
Hey, let's get to some of the stuff.
Okay.
So Raptor.
This one?
Yes, that one. Raptor says, what gets me is all these people report this stuff. There's so much new technology, but nobody has pictures or video. But I got blocked for asking, where's the proof? We're not going to block you for asking that. But
No.
this is something that we have addressed many, many times, and we address it with a lot of people. If you assume that Bigfoot functions in the forest in its habitat like a human does, then yeah, we should have clearer pictures, clearer videos, because humans are stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't fit in the forest. However, if you assume that Bigfoot is perfectly suited to stay camouflaged in its own environment and knows how to move and how to stay unseen,
Mm-hmm.
then the lack of clear video and picture is perfectly explainable, even with technology.
Now here's the thing too, Raptor, is I have my own report. I literally, in fact, Don Endicott's in the chat, and he was the guy that was with me, and he saw this with me, so it's corroborated. I got this picture. You can clearly see
Two
faces, a juvenile and an adult looking over its shoulder, which made sense to me because when I went and found the footprints, the adult's footprints was on a steep hill, and the adult's footprints was 4 feet below down the hill from the juveniles. So that makes sense that its head's about the same height because it's 4 feet behind it and lower. So here's my picture. Do you really think most people will take this as evidence? An actual sighting with an actual photograph.
Even Cliff Barrickman said, that's a nice blob squatch.
Yeah.
See, even other Bigfooters don't take
yeah.
what we have as tangible as it's going to get. And here's the other thing.
But if I show you a blurry picture of a bear, you'll say that's a bear.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And here's the thing. Yeah, if you can see them, you can film them if they stick around more than 3 seconds. And if
I had 3 seconds to take that picture, and it was 200 feet away from me down a hill through brush.
If someone has video film of Bigfoot when they're out in the open, that's a person in a costume because they don't make themselves known. They don't make themselves known. They are a wild, they are a wild creature of nature. They are not domestic. They're not pets. Smarter than wildlife and more intuitive in their surroundings. Absolutely. So, yeah. What's wrong with trail cams? Infrared. I mean, all these questions are assuming that Bigfoot is stupid, that Bigfoot isn't savvy. We're talking about a creature that is as intelligent as humans, but adapted to nature.
So Scott Goebel's in the chat, and he can corroborate this with me. We have set up trail cameras in the woods and motion lights. We have never got anything on the trail cameras, but they have tripped the motion lights. Know why? The motion lights does not have infrared. The motion lights detect motion with radar. So they can't see the motion lights, but they can see the infrared from the trail cameras. So in the same area, just on separate trees, I've had them trip the motion lights, but not the cameras because they can't see the motion lights.
Yeah. So
they're very intelligent.
They are very intelligent. It has nothing to do with battery life. It has everything to do with infrared. And they are smarter. They are smarter than we assume they are. And what I was going to say is, I knew exactly where my dog was outside our camper, and we are camped right next to some pretty thick brush. I knew exactly where she was. I could not find her with my camera. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we all decide what I mean, I hope that we are all teachable.
Yeah.
However, there is some common sense. And if you have a creature that's as smart as we are, but adapted to their environment far better than we could ever hope to be, they will always outsmart us.
Right.
Unless they're juveniles. And those are where the sightings are.
Mm-hmm. So, and this might sound like a plug, but it's really not so much. I'm right now in the process of putting together a video series called Bigfooting 101. And
You're not supposed to say that. Shut up.
Well, anyway, but what
you can't keep a secret to save his life.
But over on our Patreon, I posted the first video from that because I'm the people who are our patrons and Patreon are going to watch these videos and then critique them for me and tell me, okay, you sound like a dumbass, fix this part or whatever, so that's what I want to
Please don't hold back.
Please don't hold back.
If you're paying us every month, you've earned the right to call him a dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at Lockbeard put all the bees in there.
Beaumont Booger, the Brownsville Booger. Thank you, Log. It's going to be fun.
So anyway, and I literally, the first video is talking about the acceptance of evidence.
Yep.
So there's that.
Squatch Talk has another one that I want to talk about too. If they don't make themselves known, why do Bigfooters see them all the time? Here's the thing.
They do make themselves known.
They do, but it's the juveniles.
I think the adults do not let you see them. I think when you see them, it's either by complete happenstance or happenstance, or they're juveniles messing up and they have to show themselves to protect the juvenile, like the mother bird thing.
Yes.
So, just but like people do see them. Now, this is another thing. This is one of the things. In fact, I was Dr. Jeff Meldrum and I was sitting down one time, and he was telling me about this reporter was giving him heck, and he goes, "Well, if Bigfoot was real, why didn't they see these things all the time?" And Dr. Jeff said, "We get all these reports, and then and he said, people do see them all the time. Just that you don't believe them."
That's not where I was going with this.
But that's where I was going.
Yeah. So, and here's another thing. Unless you are going back to the same place over and over and over again, and basically habituating yourself to the place so that you become part of that environment, and in a sense develop a relationship with a particular family grouping of them.
Mm-hmm. And there's hundreds of stories about that.
Yes,
people.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you are not one of those people, yet you are saying, every time I go out into the woods, I see one.
That can be a little.
Yeah. So Bigfooters see them all the time. But the same Bigfooter does not, unless your name is, you know who I'm talking about, the same Bigfooter does not genuinely go out every time they go on a hike and they see a Bigfoot. And we know Bigfooters that every time they go outside, oh my gosh, they see Bigfoot swinging from skyscraper to skyscraper. Oh, there's one right there, or there's one, So Bigfooters in general, yes, we get a lot of reports. One Bigfooter having a weekly encounter every time they go out hiking, I'm very suspect of that.
Yeah. So we find a footprint.
We find footprints
maybe once a year,
maybe twice.
Yeah, and granted, some of those are faked. Not generally, they're not, but we find them about once a year. But the advantage we have is we have people sending us reports. We have like 100 of you guys out there that are out in the woods, which greatly increase our odds,
Our meaning Squatch Americans
being odds. Squatch Americans odds of finding big, and I'm talking about the group finds footprints once a year. I personally find eyeball footprints probably once every 2-3 years.
What about putting a trail camera on our chest and back?
We do that.
Yeah.
And
it does work.
It does work. I don't have this one on the
On the
website because we're gonna release this properly, but we've talked about it before. Here's a picture of a guy that's hiking with a camera facing behind him. Got a picture of his buddy, and I got to get this right.
There you go. Wrong way.
Yeah, it's backwards to me, but
that is not a Marvel cartoon.
Yep. So, so we do get pictures all the time.
And then, well, anyway, shall we read some more reports? We got 9 minutes. We got to let them know. Yes. Be very wary of the so-called squatchers that find evidence every time they step out of the front door.
So, yeah. So I want to show you something.
We could go long tonight. Just saying.
This photograph right here.
25
years it took me in the woods to get that photograph. And it was just dumb luck. Or having Lucky Dawn with me.
But strategic dumb luck.
Yeah. But so there's that 25 years to actually have the sighting. And there's some Bigfooters like okay, say Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. They got a video, a really good one.
And nobody believes it.
And nobody believes it. And
it's been proven to not be a hoax.
I know Roger Patterson spent the rest of his life in the woods trying to get another picture, and he never saw one ever again. Same thing with Paul Freeman. He got a sighting, and then a couple years ago, years later, he got the video, and then he spent every weekend in the woods after that. And never saw one again.
Scott Goebel says here, you don't see them unless you're looking for them most of the time. And even remember your sighting. If you had been looking for it, you still wouldn't have seen it because it was so well hidden. It was only the juvenile making
after it moved
and
that
made
I saw
noise.
it, and I smelt it. That was the other thing.
Yeah. So
where's that?
Anyway, let's go back to that.
so rabbit trail. So
so basically, we are of the mind that they are harder to spot than easier.
Yeah, and another thing, is this the next one? Observed.
Yes, this is the next one.
Okay, so another thing is why we're talking about how important it is to follow up on these reports. If you can get information from the reports, so just in the few minutes of looking at the reports that we've looked at from the BFRO alone, up here in Lake Texoma.
We're not, yeah.
I hope I'm saying it right.
We're in Whitney now, or you're looking at Texoma.
Yeah, we're in Texoma now.
Well, we will be tomorrow, but now our reports are from Texoma.
Yeah. So I'm using these reports to tell me what time of year they're going to be here and where people see them and what they're doing when they see them. So
this is a long report.
I know.
Okay. All right.
We'll do this one and then we'll wrap it up. Because
okay, so I'm not going to go into all of this one.
Okay.
But so I'm trying to find. Okay, I do not know the exact year. It must have been spring or early summer. This is all How to Hunt does. You know, he stands here and reads reports.
Yeah.
A storm was coming in, and it was at night. Our landlord kept 2 old horses on the pasture. Somehow they'd gotten out, and my father and his friend were trying to find them. They had drove off in my dad's Jeep towards the Tree of Lebanon.
We're going to have to find that.
Yes.
That sounds like an awesome place.
Yes, the Tree of Lebanon.
Okay.
I was standing on the front porch watching them drive off when I felt something eerie, I guess. I turned toward the pasture, and there was this tall, lean, lanky, hairy, mannish thing coming toward me. I'm having questions about this.
Mhm.
I called quietly to my younger sister because I was terrified. Its eyes never left mine, even when my sister came onto the porch. I could not speak or breathe, but my sister was making a whimpering noise. It still held my gaze. I think she grew up to write chick lit.
Yeah.
Anyway, it came to the fence and put its hand onto the top. I was awestruck that the lower part of his chest was the same height as the top of the iron fence. The fence is at least 4 to 5 feet tall. He towered over it. My dad was returning down the road, and the headlights of the Jeep drew me out of my fixation. I glanced at the Jeep for only a second. When I turned back, the creature was halfway down the pasture in 1 second, then disappeared into thin air. When my father came back home after finding the horses, I questioned him on if he saw anything, and he didn't. My younger sisters were both crying, and my dad was angry, saying I was frightening them on purpose. I'm shaking now just remembering about its eyes. I was never supposed to speak about it again after many lectures from my father. I lived in that house until 1996, all through my high school years. After that incident, not sure how long after, I felt something watching me in my bedroom, to a point that it drew me to the window. I could not see it clearly, but along the tree line by the far fence, it was there watching me. I could make out its massive shadow, but could not make out its features. I shut my shades and went into another room, for I was not to talk of such nonsense. I never went out at night again by myself. I got chills for no apparent reason and felt watched often. She goes on to describe it as being 7 to 8 feet tall, brownish red, light brown eyes. So that could be mistaken in the right light as glowing red. Frightening but not aggressive. Coarse, straight, long, dark brown hair, not like fur, but more like hair. Not like an ape or a bear. Muscular, but not bulky.
Mhm.
And could not make out any ears, which is common in the pictures that we see.
Mhm.
That whistles and howls in the area. My dad raised geese, and in the middle of the night, quite frequently, they would go bonkers along with our dogs. We had a pet cat mutilated in the front yard of our house once.
Okay, that's a common thing. So if I want to pick the common things out in this, okay, I'm going to get punched in the face for this, but it isn't the first time we've heard about, okay, I'm going to sound really sexist, women being enthralled with male Bigfoot.
Joe said I was reading it like a romance novel. Going on. I was kind of questioning it, going, oh.
Okay, so to be honest with you, this is a kind of a common theme. I had a lady once, not the lady who told me that she'd been having sex with Bigfoot for 5 years. I had a different lady come up and ask me a question, and she was very, very sincere. And she told me she had a sighting, and she saw this male Bigfoot, and she was, I don't know what the word is.
Are you talking about that lady at the festival?
Yeah, she was not that lady, not the lady who said she was having sex with a different lady who said she was very attracted, physically attracted, and she asked, she was very sincere, and she asked me, does that sound weird or am I crazy? You know, I was very aroused by this creature. And
you know what, if they are a hominid, like, you know, Neanderthals, and their compatibility with Homo sapiens,
and if they got
the right pheromones and stuff, I can see it being a possibility. I like what Lockbeard says.
What?
You will never see a military sniper if he doesn't want you to see him.
Exactly.
So he thinks that we aren't seeing them by accident. They're taunting us on purpose.
Yeah, I believe so.
Counting coup. We talk about Bigfoot counting coup.
Yeah, we're talking about Bigfoot counting coup. The natives say that they do that. They try to get as close to you as possible just for fun. So that was one. That's an actual common theme. I know it sounds weird, but that isn't the first time I've heard something like that. How attracted she was to this. The other thing was the mutilated cat.
That pisses me off, Bigfoot, just saying.
Yeah, but if you go back to the legend of Boggy Creek,
you know what?
that was one of the things that happened.
Do you know what? This account reminded me of some of those the Boggy Creek stuff. It really did. Really did.
Okay, and the other thing I picked out from all these reports we've got in the Texas area, they all say light brown hair.
Which means they're going to blend in with this area.
Right. So you want to keep an eye out for the light brown hair Bigfoot here. Up in the Pacific Northwest, we get reports all the time. It's jet black. Patty
was dark brown.
Was really dark brown, but almost black in color. That's the reports we get in the Northwest. But all these reports I've seen in Texas here, light brown hair, light brown hair, light brown hair, or dark brown hair.
Like Jeannie the Bigfoot, because I dream of I dream of Bigfoot with the light brown hair. Yeah. He's really, really trampling on my Lucy moments tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, Black, knock it off. Hey, Dale, we're still going. I think we're going into overtime tonight.
Yeah.
So I say we got 2 more reports. Do we want to keep going?
Do you guys want us to keep going? Or is it past your bedtime?
My appointment tonight rescheduled to tomorrow. So
oh, there we go. Okay. So this is, did we just do that one?
No, we're at Pottsboro. Look at
Pottsboro.
Or the
this one?
Pottsboro, yes. Pottsboro, yes. Okay.
Okay.
So this comes out of Grayson County. Okay, of course, where we're headed. I have never spoken to anyone about this incident and really don't care who believes me or not.
I love that sentiment.
Preach, brother. A long time has passed since my encounter, and I don't remember much about the events leading up to and after the incident. However, I can still hear and feel fear when I remember the specific encounter. Speak to that for just a moment.
What?
I can still hear and feel fear when I remember.
How do you hear fear?
You can still hear it in your head. You can hear what's going on.
Yeah.
But feeling the fear.
Feeling the fear.
Remember when we were at the Oregon Bigfoot Festival and that hunter kept casing? All day long, he would pass our booth, look in, walk away, come back, pass our booth, look in, walk away. He did that for 8 or 10 hours. And finally, when everyone was packing up to leave, he came in. And how would you describe his presentation?
Fearful.
You could see the hair on his arms stand up.
And the quiver, you could hear the quiver in his voice.
And his body was shaking as he talked about his experience. So that's the first thing that stands out to me. Okay. I was enjoying a weekend on Lake Texoma, Texas with my family. As night fell, we could not wait to watch fireworks pop into the night sky over the water. This guy's a writer. We had also purchased a large number of fireworks and were disappointed when we were told we could not pop them off near the deck. So we decided to take a small dinghy over to the other side of the lake, next to an unpopulated area of woods directly across from our dock. We figured if we could row over to the isolated beach, we could pop them off without incident and our family could see them in the air. So they did that. I'm skipping a lot here. Between fireworks, I started to hear behind me in the dense woods a crackling noise and a sound I can only describe as a grunted or whooshing grunt sound very loudly. Don and Scott, do you know what he's talking about?
What?
A grunting or a whooshing grunt?
No.
You know what a grunt is.
Well, I know what the grunts are.
Okay.
Weird whistles.
I sort of ignored it at first, and then I began to pay more attention. Suddenly, the noise got much louder, and my son stated, "What was that, Dad?" So I grabbed the flashlight, shined it into the dark woods. It was so thick and dark, I could not see anything. The noise kind of stopped for a bit. I told my son, "I think some farmer has cows or something in these woods." The breathing and grunting noises reminded me of cows grunting or making bellowing noises, and I've heard that before. A few minutes passed. The noises seemed to be getting closer, and reality set in. No fences and dense woods. I knew the area, and several miles of dense woods was all that showed on the local maps, so I began to constantly pay attention to the noises. Boy, did he have a lot of words.
Mhm.
My son was in the process of lighting another firework, and I heard crashing of branches and noticed grunting, a foul smell like body odor.
That I'm familiar with.
Yes, I raised the flashlight into the woods and briefly, just saw fleetingly between some trees, saw a large outline shadow of a man or wide man, but if it was one big dude, very wide in stature, in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do but scare me. So basically calmly told him to get into the boat. They paddled away. All right, so this area is very dense and unpopulated. Very few homes or people visit this portion of the lake bank. All right, so I told no one of this incident. I figured maybe I was seeing things or my eyes were playing tricks. I don't know, but after that I started asking some of the longtime locals about any sightings, and they tell of others who spread rumors of a Bigfoot-type creature while hunting hogs or bow hunting for deer.
Okay. So, what's in this one? Foul smell. Dark,
Right.
shadowy man-like figure. Okay.
One big dude.
One big dude. Yeah.
Grunting. Lots of grunting.
Grunting. Yeah, sounds. And of course, pigs grunt too. But here's another thing that we look for in some of these reports is what was the Bigfoot doing? This one here was probably investigating the firecrackers just for fun. You probably enticed them to come in and check you out. But there's another thing you got to think about where these Bigfoot sightings are. If you look in, and the people are talking about a place where you
just leave it alone and keep talking.
You're on.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
You couldn't find it.
No, I couldn't.
So they, if you're in an area where there's no food, no water, no cover, and you get somebody telling you a Bigfoot story, that's suspicious to me. But like where we were last weekend when we were camping out and doing that overnight research trip we did, one of the things we looked for was, is there food, water, and cover? There's plenty of water because we're on the river. Two,
there was food.
There was food. We found a lot of mulberry bushes because here we go around the mulberry bush.
That's how that goes.
Yeah. And then
I'm not going to sing it.
And then we also found
there was lots of hogs and deer.
We saw a deer, but there was also lots of hogs. I didn't see any hogs, but we found where they rooted
prints and rooting and
everywhere. So there's lots of hogs there, and there's even one of the reports, and that's coming up in that Friday, is a guy actually saw a Bigfoot grab a baby hog and go running into the woods with the hogs chasing him.
Hogs might be the only things with balls enough to do that.
Yeah.
We know people tend not to go towards them.
Yeah. So that's what I got out of here. You got food, water, cover, the smell. Having experienced that myself.
All right. Before we go to the next thing. Before we go to the next thing, why don't we tell people what we're looking at the next little while? Let's take a break. I gotta breathe. I might have to pee because they said 2 hours is a good length. I don't know my bladder is gonna last that long. Okay. Why don't we tell them where we're headed over the next our schedule?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Take a break. Oh,
all right.
Cow. Man, he's dense.
So I am denser than a box of rocks. Anyways.
Denser than these Texas woods.
So coming up this summer, I want to hit those really quick.
This summer
or this spring. I guess it's still winter in February.
Winter.
Yeah.
It's like the depths of winter.
So we just finished up
just finalize.
Finalizing all the details for all these sportsman shows coming up. We've got Eugene, Oregon. In February, I'll just do it this way. In February, we'll be in Eugene, Roseburg, Medford, and Anderson, California.
Anderson will be in March.
Well, in March, we'll be in Anderson, California, Klamath Falls, Oregon, at all these sportsman shows. And then
we have 2 months off.
Then we have 2 months off, which we were going to be squatching in
up the Oregon and Washington coast.
Up the Oregon and Washington coast.
So Ben, let's get together. Ben and Janice and
Scott
and Christy Sanders, if she ever
yeah. So all the Squatch Americans there. And then we're going to be in May, we're going to be in Forks, Washington. That's got an R in it. For the Forks Sasquatch Days. And they also have vampires and werewolves in Forks too, by the way, if you ever watched
Team Jacob.
Those movies, that's where they were filmed. Anyway, then we're going to be at the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival, one of my favorite ones in my life I've ever been to. I mean, it's just an awesome place. Middle of freaking nowhere in Washington. But they had, oh gosh, how many people? They had a lot of people.
They had 8,000 people.
8,000 people show up for that.
So speaking of 8,000 people there, all of you people in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, and maybe even Montana, let's see if we can get 8,000 people out for the 3rd annual Baker City Blue Mountain Bigfoot Festival, June 22nd and 23rd.
There we go. And then we're going to be in Roseburg, well, Glide, which is Roseburg, Oregon. In July, and then we're going to book it to Cloudcroft, New Mexico in September, and the whole month of August, July, or June, July, August, we are going to be in Maine. So yes, we will be taking off from Glide, Oregon on July 21st or 22nd, and by the beginning of August, we will be in Bangor, Maine. So get your front lawn ready, Dale. No.
Yes. Well, we'll probably find an RV park right there, but they don't need to deal with our poop tank while they're marrying off their daughter. So let me do this.
Okay, you're on it.
All right. So after Lake Texoma, we will be going east to Lake Tawakoni, and on December 16th, we are going to be holding a Bigfoot gathering at the Lake Tawakoni RV Campground Lodge. Anyone in the general area is welcome to come. I think I'm going to make it a potluck, so bring something to share by way of food. I will be making
snacks.
Yeah, snacks. I will be making some healthy snacks for everyone, but the more the merrier. And the campground will charge non-campers $10 per car to park there, but you're welcome to come in and use the lodge for free. So that's cool. So carpool. If you can fit 20 people in your car,
yeah, it's $10 a car.
Yeah, $10 a car,
not a person.
Yes.
So
so we hope to see, and we're going to start around about 3 p.m. and around about 8 p.m.
All right. So if you need to know this information, you can go find the event on Squatch America's Facebook page.
Yep.
And
I got to get our website. Ever since we switched to like a professional website manager and hosting service, it's like, if I don't get him the stuff, he doesn't make changes.
Right.
It's like, it was almost easier to do it myself.
So
thank you, Terrell.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm losing things.
You're losing your brain.
I am. Thank you, Terrell, for the really great shoe.
I have got to say something. This guy here, he's such a manly man. And you know how manly men get when they feel like they're not contributing? He was having a hard day a few weeks ago, saying how he felt like he didn't contribute financially to our situation. I went back and I looked at our tax information from last year, and guess whose income they actually taxed. It wasn't mine because my income wound up being in the negative.
Mhm.
Yours was in the positive. So, so you actually did.
So
Anyway.
you want to know why we do these Bigfoot festivals?
Anyway, it was so funny. Brian and Chewy go hiking. Who is Chewy? Is that your wife or your cute dog?
Yeah, we don't know.
Ah.
Thank you. So makes everybody
Okay, Donald Fuller asks if we're doing top secret research in Maine. No, we are going to a family wedding, and honestly, if we didn't show up for the wedding, they would send Bigfoot after us to dismember us.
So no, we're going to do that, but we are going to have, well, it depends on between there and Cloudcroft. But
we really want to work out some kind of Bigfoot something.
We are going to do a Bigfoot something while we're in Maine. So look for that. It may be in.
Could be in Bangor. It could be in Millinocket.
We
should do it at the sawmill in Millinocket. Start hitting up Dean and Angel.
Yeah, there we go. And then we might jump over and maybe if we could do something over in Vermont with Donna. So we're gonna work on planning doing a couple Bigfoot whatever. Just
right
get-togethers.
So right now it looks like we're planning 4 Bigfoot events of our own while we're on the road.
Exactly. So there's that.
All right. Are we on the last Bigfoot report? Yes.
So yeah, the last is it this one? Eisenhower Road?
Yep.
All right. So here's the last one report that we're investigating when we get to our next stop.
Okay. Here is the report. We had an awesome experience the weekend of July 26th. This is pretty recent, 2019.
2019.
While camping with my son and his 2 friends at Eisenhower State Park in Texas, we were sitting around the campfire at night, about 9:15 p.m. We all heard 2 howls south of our campsite, very deep howls, each lasting 5 to 7 seconds long each.
Mm-hmm.
That's longer than a wolf howl.
Yeah.
Okay. With a small pause in between. About 10 seconds later, another howl northwest of camp, higher pitch and feminine sounding. Oh, I've got all sorts of jokes in my head now. There are no wolves or coyotes in this area. And did anyone answer me? Is it coyote or coyote? I don't know.
I don't know.
Someone put coyote or coyote.
Up in the Pacific Northwest where I'm from, we call them coyotes.
Yeah. So about 20 so there are no wolves or coyotes in this area, Didn't sound like a dog or anything I've ever heard before. The boys, all over 18, were really excited and stood up, looking around. They were not believers in Bigfoot, but that got them talking about the possibilities. About 20 minutes later, while sitting there, we heard a whoop pretty close by. That was the point when they no longer thought I was just a weird dad who believes in Bigfoot. Throughout the night, any sound we heard, we all discussed and scrutinized it. Best part of it all, I never spoke of Bigfoot until that point, and they were the ones making the connection. The next morning, we hiked all around the woods looking for any signs, but found nothing solid. It could have been something else, but from my experiences, it was real. Another big bonus for me is now my son is interested in going out with me to research and hunt for a forest friend. I feel truly blessed that my son and I were able to experience this together. And now he doesn't think I'm crazy anymore. Win, win, win.
That's cool.
Throughout the night, we did hear brush breaking, possibly raccoons. I heard grunts about 1 a.m. So once again, Bigfoot puts a happy family back together.
There we go.
Bigfoot saved our marriage.
Yeah. So there's something interesting about there is the whoops. And actually we've got, I don't know how many reports, hundreds of hearing whoops coming from different directions and closing in on people even. We've had that ourselves. But
Chewy's a dog, by the way. Ooh, I want to see pictures. Look me up on Facebook. Send me a picture.
Yeah. So let's see. What was the other thing?
So 5 howls that are 5 to 7 seconds long. Here's 7 seconds. That's a pretty long howl.
That's a pretty long howl. But I don't know. See, there's one thing here. I'm not sure if you can tell the difference between a male and a female voice of a Bigfoot. This is the first time I think I've ever seen somebody describe a higher pitched female sound. I'm going through through my head of stuff I have heard. I've heard high pitched whoops before. In fact, do I have that? I think I took it off.
Okay.
I had it on here, but
we've heard high-pitched chatter.
Right. So there is a whoop that I recorded all on my little lonesome. I gotta find where that stuff is on my phone. It's the huckleberry whoop. Here we go. So
the huckleberry whoop. It sounds like a dance.
Yeah, because
the latest TikTok craze is
the reason I call it the huckleberry whoop is because there was a couple give us a report of being chased out of the woods they were picking huckleberries, and they got chased out of their huckleberry patch. And so we went back and spent the night in that huckleberry patch. So, and this is what we recorded. If I can get it to play. Now, would you say that was high-pitched female?
Possibly.
I never thought about that until now. See, that's another thing. Reading these reports makes you think about
But here's something that does kind of bring something that we've experienced before, where they heard one series of howls over here, and then 10 seconds later, a responding howl in another area, northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And with the theory that they're howling to establish location.
Mm-hmm.
And what time of year was this? This was in the midsummer.
Mm-hmm. July.
I'm not thinking if they're going by seasons. If they're going by seasons, this could be mating season with young born in the early spring. So if it's mating season and you've got a female in estrus, that could be, she's hot and ready to go, and they're trying to locate each other. Mm-hmm. There's your Bigfoot romance, Joe, right there.
There you go. So another thing they said, they thought they heard something breaking brush, possibly raccoons. They heard grunts about 1 a.m. And of course, you hear things in the woods breaking brush a lot. I mean, deer, elk, they just bear don't care. They just walk through the woods. I don't know how many I don't know if there is bears down here.
Don says they couldn't hear that. You need to reload that on here and keep those howls available.
I did. Okay.
They probably could only hear the
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can do that. But anyway, so here's something about Bigfoot reports. And if you ever submit a Bigfoot report or see something, there's one thing I want to encourage everybody to do. This is interesting. This happened to Hannah and I last weekend. We were hiking we were in the woods at night listening. We didn't do any tree knocks or anything. We're just listening. So I'm trying to do two things here. Anyway, when we were hiking back out, we saw some eye shine in the woods. Remember that? Okay, so off in the woods, we saw these two little eyes looking at us on the ground. So I knew it wasn't anything huge because it was down on the ground. So we were wondering if it was a raccoon or a possum or maybe even an armadillo. But
because there be armadillos here.
They are armadillos.
I have no idea what an armadillo looks like, but I know they're here.
Okay. Where's the one that says my Bigfoot finds? Anyway.
I don't know. Why don't we promise that next week.
Okay, I promise it next week because I'm looking for it and I cannot find it in my files.
All right, Scott.
Okay.
You're going to lose them.
So anyway,
There,
found it.
Found it.
Anyway, so we moved and the eyes moved with us, the two little eye shines. So instead of like making my video all excited and going, there's two eyes out here looking at us, it's following us and we're all going to die. You know what I did? I walked into the woods after it.
And guess what?
And guess what? It was a freaking beer can laying on the ground.
Okay, can I say one thing to all the Texans out there?
Clean up your forest.
My gosh, that's the one thing we noticed here is like in this whole area, it was disgusting. And I would say if Bigfoot doesn't hang around, he knows it's because if he walks in these woods, he's going to tear up his feet on the damn beer cans that everyone throws around. Yeah. These are the nastiest woods we've ever seen. Now, the Sam Houston Forest was not like this. This was Corps of Engineers land, and we know that they don't really maintain it very well, but it was disgusting. Yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah. Oh. Joe said armadillos are armor-plated possums.
By the way, Locke, I have not seen Peter Kane's video where he had a big female Bigfoot in the barn moaning. If a female Bigfoot is anything like a human, or if a female is anything like a human female, nothing's off the table.
Okay.
During the monthly thing.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he said.
I know. TMI, honey. Okay. Here
no.
There.
Could you hear that?
Hopefully you could hear that.
So.
Charles Smook says armadillos are tactical possums.
Actually, Scott, I think it was a Bud Light can.
It actually was a Bud Light can, by the way. So go, who's trashing the woods now? Okay.
All right. So now what are we? And Charles says armadillos are tactical possums.
Yes, they are.
They're like the possum special forces.
Oh, thanks, Michelle. She said they could hear at that time.
Okay, good.
So did that sound like a female? I never even thought about that before.
Thank you, Charles.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Charles. We got to do our thing.
What were you going to tell us to do on our Bigfoot reports? Janice, thank you. She's getting us back to the point. What are we supposed to do with our Bigfoot reports?
Okay, here's the deal. If you see something in the woods and you get a picture of it or you just witness it,
fill out our form.
Well, first go to the website. But here's very important to do. If you see a footprint, take all the pictures of it, cast it if you can, measure it, do research. If there's a Bigfoot in the woods, chase it. I know this sounds crazy, but if
who is it? Is it? I think it's Locke who says go towards it.
Yeah. If you see a figure in the woods, okay, and you're looking at it, and there's this big hairy feature, and it's standing by this tree, if you walk towards it and it doesn't move, and you get closer and closer and closer, and it's still there, and then you run into the stump that it was. A lot of people do this. They'll take pictures and they'll say, hey, what was this here? What do you think this is? Well, did you go back and take a picture 10 minutes later in the same area? Was it still there? So if it was there and then it wasn't there later, that tells you that was at least something that was big and it moved.
And here's the thing. Yeah. If you take your camera and you start going towards it and videoing it and you run into the stump, that's going to go viral.
Yeah. So
do it.
Like, so we saw the thing on the ground. I chased down and murdered a Bud Light can,
which was worthy of murder. Oh, sorry.
But,
please don't block us for that.
So I did, and So like when I had my sighting and I took those photographs, we didn't stay there because I was in shock. But the next morning, I was back there. I was in the same spot, standing in the same place, taking the same picture from the same distance to see if I got the same photograph, if what I saw was there. And then I hiked down that hill, found the footprints. I found there's water down there actually, and I found the footprints, and we was able to measure everything and figure out how far these were, how tall this was. So I didn't. So I don't want to be that guy who takes pictures in the woods and then tries to find Bigfoot in them. I've got people who send me, hey, I took this picture in the woods. I found 17 Bigfoot in it. You know, it's like go towards the light. So if
towards the Squatch.
Go towards the Squatch.
Stop watching Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
Don says he's heard calls similar to the whoop whoop, the Mamali whoop, the Huckleberry whoop, and he says it's canine.
Canine? It very well could be. There are coyotes in that area.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I'm not saying it's Bigfoot. I meant there was a Bigfoot report from that area that day, literally that day. But what we did not record, and I don't generally talk about it because I got no proof, but I've got a witness that was with me that very night. Oh wait, I do have proof. But anyway, no, I didn't get it recorded, the sound recorded, but we did hear what sounded like chest thumping, and it wasn't a grouse. I know what grouse sounds like when they beat on logs. In fact, we spent one night with Janice, actually, when we were squatching with Janice.
We spent one night not sleeping because the damn grouse wouldn't shut up.
The grouse kept beating on their chests all night. But this was totally different. It sounded like a really loud pounding on the chest. And I was actually, with my infrared binoculars, I was actually looking at an elk when that happened, and my binoculars didn't pick up the sound because it was too far away, but the elk saw it. In fact, if you go back and look at the video called something Huckleberries.
Who stole my Huckleberries?
Who stole our video?
One of our best viewed videos. You really want to watch
it.
Yeah,
it's actually that clip is in there, and you'll see the elk look up and heard that beating. And if it was a grouse, I don't think an elk would respond to it because they hear that all the time. But this elk heard that. It looked up and then turned around and ran. So that was a little bit different.
Yeah, and I don't think elk have a problem with coyotes, do they? They might stomp
not really.
Coyote.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. So Joe says, I always tell my wife I'm going to do that if I don't come back. Look for my camera. It might have a Bigfoot on it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're going to be that Blair Witch found footage Bigfoot proof right there.
All right. That's the dumbest movie ever made. Well, Scott says don't run towards it if it's throwing rocks. I think if it's throwing rocks at you and you run towards it, you might catch it off guard and make a whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Log says go towards the Squatch, no excuses. And Janice, you didn't know that about grouse. Wow. Okay. Noisy little cusses.
Yeah, you can probably look that up on YouTube. Just look up grouse chest thumping. But the thing about it is they are very rhythmic about it. So it's not like chest pounding. Well, that wasn't what I heard with the chest pounding thing. But grouse start slow. They go do 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 do.
And then it's almost like an engine revving up. Yeah, it's so. I did not sleep a wink that night. I
just heard grouse beat on their chest all night long.
Yeah. So guess what? We've been going a long time.
Oh, yeah. But I've had fun tonight.
I
hope you guys have too.
I have to pee.
So with that, we're signing off. Yeah.
So with that, please remember.
Well, hold on. I need you guys to do us a favor. Like, subscribe, share this video, tell all your friends.
I will be putting up both the book list and our movie list on the community tab of our channel. just for Raptor, because we do love you, my man. We love you.
Okay.
So
All right. So with that, I got to find the thing. Oh, look, I found
please
it.
remember that our job, of course, is to investigate the unexplained.
Not to explain the uninvestigated. That's why I said chase the Bigfoot. You got to investigate it.
Yeah. So thanks for putting up with us and for going along with us. And congratulations, Ben. You got a new light. You have a good night too, Raptor. Until next week, you keep watching.
And we'll keep squatching. Now go out and find Bigfoot.
Bye.
Bye. I don't have the thing ready.